What's this week's Devil the Detail podcast? I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Join me the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Whiteside. Paul, rumour has it that you're doing some exams this week regarding keeping Britain warm.
Oh yeah, well every 5 years you've got to retake your stuff again to make sure you're safe and you're not a cowboy. So I'm doing my stuff this week. So back on the district on Thursday with a bit of luck, unless I fail. So yeah, I'm doing all right. I've passed the first couple of days, so finish off tomorrow.
Yeah, lucky for you, I've got a question which possibly might be on the exam tomorrow. So I'm going to test you on this podcast to see if you get the right answer.
Go on then.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're under a boiler in a haunted house. You hear a weird hissing noise. Do you A, look for a potential lost snake? B, realize it's an opportunity to audition for a pantomime bad guy in the local production and act out the old, oh yes it is, oh no it's not routine when the owner asks if the boiler is fixed? C, tie the balloon in your hand and recreate the film Up? Or D, turn off the gas?
I don't know. Really. I don't think I'll be turning gas off.
No?
That's a last resort, that really. I think I'd have a look for this hidden snake. So don't fancy that biting me.
Good. I'm confident you'll get it past and keep Britain warm. That's the most important thing, Paul.
When I hear like hissing noises on the boiler, Rob, it usually means water's coming from somewhere. Because as like any engineer will tell you, if you hear like water running in an house, your heart sort of stops for a minute because you think, what have I left on? Someone's leaking. You're running around like a madman trying to find it. But usually it's just someone's flushed a chain or running a tap or something. But it's just instinct that kicks in.
Brilliant. So we'll look forward to passing that. You can tell us about it next week. Yep. Also joining us on the show, we've got Paul Parkin. Parky, how's your week been?
Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, I've not really done much. It's early in the week, isn't it? I've had a couple of appointments, but nothing great. No exams for me. Not since I was about 15, I don't think. So that was a while ago. I don't envy you for that, Paul. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, no, everything's going okay. I'm having a decent week. Obviously, get off the back of a win, and the world seems a better place, doesn't it?
Yeah. I've got a busy week this week. I've got my long-awaited balloon ride on Thursday, providing it's not too windy or not windy enough, or too sunny or not sunny enough, or too rainy, or the pilot's drunk, or the basket's too big or too small, or any other excuse to give me not to do it. And then also, I've got a brain scan on Thursday to check if my nose works. Basically, my wife says that I smell. I say I don't. So what they're doing, Parky, they're testing to see if I can or I can't, rather than I do or I don't.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never really come across that before. That's. I mean, it sounds quite severe when you say a brain scan, but obviously, they're not actually just. There's no problem with the brain as such in that way, or senses. Oh, that's quite interesting. You have to let us know what the outcome of that is. It's. I wouldn't know how they go about that, to be honest. That's quite good. But at least, one of you is right, one of you is wrong. But we don't want any domestic, so get it sorted.
Yeah, I suppose your nose is top drawer in it, Paul, being under a boiler. Make sure that you can smell the gas.
I can smell gas from a mile away, mate, if I go in and out. It's something you get. It's like the gift that you get. You can sense it. But have you ever had a scan before? Did you have to go in a machine? Because I had one on my back. About 5 years ago, and you lie down, you roll into this thing, and it sounds like someone's drilling something and making loads of noise. It's horrible. It's dead claustrophobic. You're like in a little tunnel.
Sounds like Paul's got the force. He just knows. He just knows when there's a gas leak. That sounds about right, is it, Paul?
Oh yeah. The force is with me, mate. Yeah.
So there's loads to go at this week. We'll look back at the Magic Weekend and Salford Devils' victory against Hull Kingston Rovers. We've got all the big news coming out the club this week. The Reds Rise campaign has finished with a record amount, and we're going to preview the game against Castleford on Friday night. So we'll start with the Magic Weekend win against Hull Kingston Rovers. So Salford Devils were victorious at Magic Weekend. They beat Hull Kingston Rovers 26 points to 16. Parker, what a win for Paul Rowley's men.
Yeah, really good. Great performance from the boys. It could have been, well, it was tough, really, but it could have been a lot tougher. OKR have been in great form this year. Got some really, really good, talented players. But I thought we handled it really well. I thought we looked comfortable in most aspects of the game. Certainly, some of our attacking clicked again that we've probably not seen a lot this year. We made some really good breaks. The ball movement was superb. I think the weather will help that. The sunny conditions, being dry. We're great to watch with ball in hand. We are just so entertaining at times. I was talking to fans of other clubs, and they were more or less saying, Wigan fans, Saints fans, they were saying the same thing, that we're just great to watch. It's a bit heart in mouth at times, but no, a brilliant performance on the big stage. And Paul mentioned last week, our record at Magic's never been able to sort of shout about. But I think we put a marker down this week for the league as well. I think we're going to get better as well, and I think the rest of the league will have looked at that game at the weekend, and I think most people predicted a Rovers win, and I thought we made it look quite comfortable. So no, great positive result, and richly deserved.
Yeah, created lots of chances. Paul bombed chances, has to be said. Chris Atkin knock on. Ken Seo held up. Callum Watkins held up. We'll talk about that one in a bit. Dion Cross knocked on. Tyler Dupree had a half a chance. The Watkins to Seo pass that went forward. Sidlow had an opportunity as well. Possibly 30 points plus there. That in a different game would have been on our total.
Well, yeah, I think if the game hadn't been on telly, we probably would have got 50 points because there's no video referee there, so half of them tries would have been given. I watched the game back yesterday, was it the day before, and I was struggling a bit really because a lot of them, it depends, because he gives a no try on the field. The video referee is already influenced anyway, so you're looking at it thinking, well, I'm not going to give this because I can't, because if there's any element of doubt, he won't give it anyway. So I don't know, that rule just seems daft because you're wasting like 5 minutes because you're not going to give it. So yeah, but I thought the team played really well. I thought we had OKR at arm's length. I think they imploded really for me. They gave far too many penalties away. They knocked on countless times. I mean, they were in front of us there, and they give us two penalty goals. I mean, the one right at half time, it was just a cheap shot. If I was Willie Peters, well, he was going mad in the press conference. Willie Peters saying how well Salford had played, but how his team were just poor. So I thought they'd give us a real leg up. And in the second half, I mean, some of those breaks where Briley comes through that gap there, it's cracking rugby. I mean, we've never seen rugby like that for donkey's years, have we? And it's great stuff we play. And I thought we thoroughly deserved the win against a very, very good OKR side. So it was a very pleasing day, really.
Yeah. I think the important thing when everything was going wrong, well, not wrong, but obviously we were getting chances bombing. We didn't throw it away. We didn't panic. We stuck to the process, Parking. That's the important thing. I think that's the thing that Paul Rowley likes to install into his players, that the process will work. Just keep playing what we do.
Yeah, I think, you say, we didn't take some of the chances. We're making chances. Yeah. That's the main thing. You know what I mean? There's always going to be something coming off it. Doesn't always work, but we know that we can open teams up. And once you've done it once or twice, the confidence going through the team, thinking, right, okay, it didn't work that time, but we'll just stick to, like you just said there, and to use a different coach's sort of saying, go through the process, stick to the process, and we do. And on Saturday, that was a perfect example of it. We didn't get frustrated by it. We didn't think, oh, it's not our day, things are going against us. We know within ourselves how good we are and what we can do to teams. And like I say, some of the attacking rugby on Saturday was phenomenal. Really was. Some of the best we've seen easily this year. It was reminiscent of what we were watching the back end of last season. The ball movement and so on. But like I say, we've just got to keep creating chances, and we will take a few. And against a lesser team than Hull Kingston, who, like I say, have been good this year. We could have racked up a real score there on Saturday.
Yeah. Obviously, let's look through the timeline of the game. Salford started well. Paul, 3 real big opportunities. Chris Atkin knocked on over the line. Ken Seo was held up. And then the Callum Watkins try, which was taken off for a double movement, or being carrying after the referee called it hell, whichever one you want the referee want to say. Strange decision for me, the Watkins one.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was a try. I thought we made a good start, though. We got off on the front foot, to be honest with you. And the only thing that worried me was we didn't score. And then obviously, I got that try. And you think, blind, we've had all that possession, all that territory, and we've not posted any points. So I didn't panic, though, because I knew we had enough in the tank. And it was a big, wide pitch, that. And you could see that the intention we'd come out with was to play. And we was always going to create chances. And I think OKR is the same. I think they try and play the same way as us. I was listening to one of the pundits, and I think it was Wilkin who said they're a better side, OKR. I thought, well, I don't know where you get that one from, because I think we're decent. Us, we play some really good stuff, and it was good over the weekend because I don't normally get to watch all the matches, but I made a bit of an effort to try and watch some of the games on Sunday when I got back, and I watched the 3 Sunday games, and I thought, we're playing some cracking stuff. I watched Huddersfield and they were absolutely awful. And, you look at these teams and they probably spent an awful lot more money than what we spent. And we are really getting value for money out of that squad. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah, we made a good start to the game, but obviously going 6 points down was a bit of a disappointment, really does, with after the possession we had.
Yeah. So, like you said, Hull go in front, Minicello with a try, but then Salford hit back with a try from Joe Burgess. Little lovely bit of work. Parky from Brodie Croft spots the gap and sends Joe Burgess over from 40 metres.
Yeah, if I had a pound for every time somebody said to me this year that Brodie Croft doesn't look right, he don't look as good, he's not as good as last year, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, I'd be a fairly wealthy man. It's going to come from Brodie Croft. Again, he's just waiting for these conditions and the right game when we're on top. That's his game. He's not, we set a platform for a player like him. Open up a gap, quick play the balls. He's a nightmare. He's an absolute nightmare because he's not only is he a clever player and quick off the mark, he's strong as well. His upper body strength he's unbelievable. But yeah, he'd seen the play. He'd seen what had happened. There was slow retreat from the KR defence. He sees the gap, aims at the defender that's backpedaling a little bit because he's not got back on side, so he's off balance, straight through the gap, and then well done to Joey Burgess for being there. He's a winger in the middle of the park. He knew what was, he could see as well. Good players do that. They know they can read the game. And once Brodie had gone through, I knew there was a try coming, but as soon as he got it, Burgess, nobody was going to touch him. Brilliant bit of play. Exactly what we love about Brodie. That's what he brings. I love Mark Sneed and everything, the control and everything he brings to our team. But that little bit of X factor that all good teams have, and you need a great player, and that's what Brodie's got. So just spotting that gap, spotting the defender not doing his job, a little bit lazy maybe, and off you go. And as the conditions get hotter this summer, hopefully, I say that. I mean, this is England. It could be anything. It could be snowing next week. But you get these forwards who will tire a little bit, and because of the heat and stuff. That's when you'll see Brodie Croft at his very best doing that a lot more. And that was just an example of it on Saturday.
Yeah. So Mark Sneed kicks the goal. He kicks a penalty shortly after to make it 8-6 to Salford. And then Hull score a try through King, slipping the defensive line, Paul, and the big forward finds a way over. Out of nothing, really. 2 attempts on our goal, 2 tries.
Yeah, I thought it was poor defending that, really. I think we should have done better than that there. He just seemed to run onto that ball and skittled a few of the defenders out of the way. He perhaps should have done a bit better, really. A bit of a soft try to concede that. And we've not been conceding many tries like that this season. We've been pretty solid there, but I still wasn't panicking. As I said before, we got that penalty goal, didn't we, right on the break, which Sneed banged over because he had no other option, really. So I was quite confident at half-time, expecting a big second half, but we were in the game, really, weren't we? And well in the game, I thought, at half-time. The first half was a funny one because you were expecting loads of points, but it never really got going. But I think that injury to James Batchelor really slowed the game down. I think he was down for, I was watching the highlights the other day, and it was about 15-20 minutes he was down for. So that obviously is a big concern to the players, and then they sort of keep him warm, aren't they, and things like that. And then after that, it takes you a bit to get going again. And thankfully that Batchelor's all right. He's made he'll progress in hospital. So we send our best wishes to him. But it was a bit of a break in the game. But the second half, I thought it really got off to a flyer. Then, didn't it? We should have scored, shouldn't we? If you remember, I think it was Coote let the ball bounce. It went that wide, and I thought we made a real porridge of that. Burgess and Laffey. But we had chances again there early doors.
Yeah. So obviously we kept pushing. We kicked another penalty goal from Sneed, and then another penalty goal, Simbin for Hull KR at Parkin. We thought to ourselves, man up here, opportunity.
Yeah, I think. I just we did the right thing, by the way, with it. Taking the two, just getting ourselves back on level and edging ahead again.
Yeah.
I must admit, at half time, I was saying to everyone, I don't know how we're behind. I really couldn't work out how we were losing in that game. It was, I thought we'd more or less dominated the first half anyway. And like you say, two breaks away. I mean, Hull did the same thing last week and scored. And I don't know. I mean, the King try was massively disappointing, I think, and there was a slip in there, and which led to a missed tackle and that kind of. And that can happen. But I thought at that point, could this be one of them days? Fortunately, the players didn't. But yeah, we took the right decisions with the penalties, and there were penalties, no doubt about that. I think Hull KR's discipline let them down a little bit there, and I mean the sin binning. If in other games, that's a red card. I'm not advocating that. I don't want that. I don't want 12 men, 11 men on a pitch at any time. That's just not right. But seeing what was it Tetavano did at Leeds against Wigan a few weeks ago and got sent off for, it was less than that. He got a red card, and that's this day and age, referees could do that. I'm not going to get into the refereeing debate, but that was, I think he was fairly lucky just to get the 10. But again, we dominated the game, and I think players get frustrated. I think that's what that was, a little bit of fatigue and frustration, and they took it out on Mark Sneed sillily, really, and then the other penalty before that, he's just silly, and like Paul said there, Willie Peters would have been pulling his hair out with it.
Yeah, so we kick another penalty, we go in front, we got a man up, we kick deep, and then Dion Cross gets Simbin for a high shot, Paul, and we're back to 12 apiece.
Yeah, it was a difficult one. That I think you've probably, if you're Dion Cross, you've just probably got to be a bit smarter there, because that ball goes in the air. What he's either going to do, Coote, he's either going to catch it in the air, and then you're going to tackle him and it's a penalty, or he's going to catch it and go to ground, and you're going to catch him high, aren't you, because he's dropping. So I think he was a bit naive there, Cross. I don't think it was. There's nothing he could do really about it. I think the referee said it was. I think Kendall said on the video when I was watching it on the telly, he went in with force. Well, in a contact sport, we're supposed to go in with force. But no, I think just a bit clumsy there, Cross. But I don't think there was any malice in it. I think he just went to tackle him, and that Coote went down like a sack of potatoes, didn't it? But it was just one of them. But I think that's where your smartness comes in, because they've just had a guy sin-binned. So, as soon as you do something in the next set of 6, he's going to even things up and sin-bin him. So I don't think the referee had any choice there, really. I think it was one of them. He could have done a bit better there, Crossy. Yeah,
I just think when the sort of the bomb goes up in the chase, it's all adrenaline in it, and it takes a special player to pull out there when he's ready to tackle him. Even though he does go to ground, he does it in high. So Simbin probably is correct. So both teams are out of 12 men. Hull KR attack, go over in the corner through Hall, obviously on that side of the field, man down Parker, and Hall, being one of the top wingers in the country, goes over and scores.
Yeah, just going off the Cross thing, by the way. You're gonna get carded for that. There's no doubt about it. But Mikey Lewis did 3 shots to somebody to the head during the game and didn't. Now, I know why, because they were more of slaps than anything else. And if Cross had done that, he'd have probably stayed on. But he did hit him with a bit of force. And like Paul said, I mean that's his job at the end of the day. But it's where you catch somebody. A little bit of a difficult one, that. But I'm not going to have a go at Kendall for that. I think he's got no option. I mean, it wasn't great defence. We haven't read it, I don't think, and I don't think we'd recovered from having Cross put in the bin. I don't think I don't think the lads hadn't chatted or dragged enough men over to that side of the pitch or whatever. We just got caught out there, And Ryan Hall's always going to score. He is a brilliant finisher. He's big, strong, and the way he puts that ball down, he gets it into that hand and makes it difficult for us to get towards him, and then just crashes over. And there was no doubt. I mean, it went to the video ref, but there was no point. He was always grounding the ball. And again, that's one of the moments where you think, after all that, how are we behind again? We don't deserve this. And again, in my mind, I thought, we've been in control of this. We can still win it, but we shouldn't be in this position right now.
Yeah, 16-14 down. Paul, many Salford teams of the past would have had a bit of a moment there, I think. But this one, Doug again, went again and scored. Lovely try from Ken Seo. Lovely break by Ryan Briley. Fed Seo, and he scotched over from 30 metres for the try.
Yeah, I just sat behind I wasn't that far from the dugout, and Chris Atkin was on the bench. He was just getting ready to go on, and he was stood with Kristen Inu, I think it was, and not Kurt Haggerty, it was Inu, and he must have been talking to him on the thing because he put some headphones on, and Paul Rowley must have been telling him something. You could see him; he was itched like a dog, waiting to go, waiting to get on the pitch and start. And as soon as he went on, you could feel the tempo of the game. So that was a really sort of not an inspired substitute, but it's in the game plan. He was always going to do that. But as soon as he got on, I felt something was going to happen then, and he did. He knocked that tempo up, and I thought we went up through the gears then, and okay, I couldn't live with us. It was like, yeah, we just seemed to go to a higher tempo, and they were done. Really then, and we could have had even more points after that. We could have when Sidlow went over, but there was only one team in it then for me in that last 10 minutes.
Yeah, obviously Salford were on fire. Parker, the next try from Chris Atkin, lovely break by Brodie Croft. Fed Atkin, he crashes over by the posts, and it's a game, set, and match. Reds, Devils.
Yeah, Brodie there again obviously made the break, but actually kept the ball alive. He went down. He didn't die with it. He could have, panicked a little bit or whatever, and he didn't. He just kept his wits around him. Had a look, and there's Chris. And Atkin did well there to get over as well, because he was under some serious pressure to get over that line. And obviously he was delighted with that being an ex Robin, so he was absolutely buzzing. But going back to the CO try, I mean that bit of skill, the way they link up, that's what we saw last year so much. And as soon as Kez got the ball and went through, I mean he's shown great pace. I mean, he's not a youngster anymore, is he, Ryan Briley? He's got a few years on the clock, and yet he just left everybody for dead. And obviously, like all good wingers, try scorers, Kenny Seo's there. And again, as soon as he got the ball, you knew he was scoring. But yeah, that last one just put the cherry on the cake, didn't it? It was well worked. Again, just bright play, and this backing up. There's somebody always being there, and knowing that somebody's going to be there. The amount of times in the past we've seen Salford, a Steve Blakely break, and he's turned around and looked, and he's on his own, and he's just going to get clobbered, and that's it. It's happened for decades now, and this is just totally different. Every time we make a break, generally there's somebody there, whoever it is, whether they finish it off, they're there in support. And that's a massive plus. And in between that, we'd had a try disallowed as well. Another one, I think was it Laffey's, which was I'm still baffled by. I don't quite understand how they got to that decision. But like Paul said earlier, referee said no try, and it's a definite influence. They're trying to find any reason then. We can't give this because the referee says it's not. Otherwise, it makes the referee look stupid. But yeah, so it could have been a wider margin and wouldn't have been, I don't know. I think we'd have deserved it. But some great play, great to watch. The conditions obviously help us. When it gets warm, we'll be even better.
Yeah, Brodie Croft, Mark Sneyd, Ryan Briley, combining Paul, attacking the edges. Great, wide runners all over. Okay, I couldn't deal with it, and that's why we're, scoring points and creating chances for fun.
Yeah, that last try that Atkins scored, didn't he start the move? I'm sure it was his pass that actually started the move. It was a lovely pass, like an inside ball, and boom, they'd gone away. And then it just shows you how good he is, because then he's backing up at the end to finish the try. But I thought Brodie Croft was so intelligent there, because he sort of got caught but he didn't go to ground. He sort of sat up and passed the ball, so his ball carrying arm didn't touch the floor. So it was great bit of play. And I think when we're playing at full flight, that is so inventive. It's so good to watch. And the players all seem to read each other. So, yeah, I thought it was a great result. And, to kick off the Magic weekend with a win there, Paul Rowley was delighted. It was a great start to the day, really. And I thought our match was one of the best ones of the weekend. I haven't seen all the others. I thought it was a great performance. And, there's some disappointing ones. You look at Wigan, they got absolutely smashed, didn't they? And Warrington got beat as well. Huddersfield got hammered. So some of the sides have really disappointed. So our game was a good win.
Yeah, talking about Paul Rowley. Here he is now, talking to you, Paul, about the win at Magic. So that was Paul Rowley talking to you, Paul, after the win, and he was chuffed with the performance.
He was, yeah. I went in this little radio room with Jack Dearden with him, and we went to talk to him. And Jack spoke to him first, and the guy who did the commentary for Sky, Mark Wilson, was there. And apparently, Mark must have said to him in the commentary, must have asked him a question just before half time, and Paul Rowley was slagging him off because he asked him a daft question. So it's quite funny that. But yeah, he was delighted, Paul Rowley, and rightly so. He was really chuffed with the win, and he brought Ryan Brierley into the press conference, and it was quite a big one in there because all the people were there. Obviously, they'd been at a football ground, it'd been a big event, and he was really sort of singing. Ryan looked a bit embarrassed actually, but he was singing his praises, saying he should be, in contention for international recognition. And I think he's right. I think Ryan Brierley's been one of the best fullbacks this season. And he was saying about him playing for England. I thought he's already played for Scotland, but yeah. I think you can play for England, can't you, or Australia if you play for somebody else. But I think he's right. I think Paul Rowley really. One thing I've noticed about Rowley is he doesn't have to stick up for his players. He really sticks up for them. He really sort of looks after them, defends them, and he'll sing the praises if they've won, and that's good in a coach. The players all seem to trust him, and it just makes me chuckle sometimes because Ryan Brierley's like his sort of rugby league son, Paul Rowley. He's like his dad. So he's saying like he texts him everywhere. He's his best salesman. I think that's the best way of describing him. But no, it was good to see Paul Rowley in such a chipper mood.
Yeah, it was like, you say, he does play for Scotland, Ryan Brown, let's not forget. And kind of reminds me, Paul, about your favourite comedy clip from TalkSport, Auntie Namey, and Scottish fan asking the radio presenter to see if he wanted to play for Scotland, but he told him he was finished, and he said, I'm not finished, he's 28, which always makes you chuckle.
It comes up on my memories on Facebook every now and again. I have to watch it because it's so funny.
Yeah, so... It reminds me of that when he said, well, I want to play for England. He was like, well, but he's Scottish. So, but yeah, great result. Obviously, he talked about building pressure, Parky, and how the players mentally were strong enough to keep going to the well after so many chances bombed.
Yeah, basically, I was saying before about the fact that we didn't get downhearted by anything. We stay bright, we stay alert. And we just go through what they obviously do all week. This is how we're going to play this game. If it doesn't work at first, it doesn't matter. We'll keep doing it, and we'll keep doing it, and it will work. Yeah, and again, he spoke well about Ryan, obviously, but I think I heard him speak about Mark Sneyd as well, and the influence that he's had on this team, and the development of Mark Sneyd as a player, even in his short time with us, his couple of years that he's been back with us from his time at Hull, he's a different player to the one I saw at Hull. He did well for them, obviously, but he didn't have that role. Now he is the senior member in many ways of that team, and he's so pivotal to everything we do. When you watch him, and I've watched that game back again from Saturday, he don't have to touch the ball. He's just involved. He knows, he directs, he shouts. He's brilliant. Obviously, we know Cal's obviously captain, but Mark Sneyd must be like having another captain on the pitch with you because he's so good at what he does. It's great to watch. He kind of reminds me in a way of what Gavin Clinch did a few years back, or a Duneman or that kind of player where you don't have to be involved every tackle. You can touch the ball once in a set of six if you have to, and that's on the last tackle to boot it. But he's made sure that everybody else knows their job and he's doing it. And I think Paul Rowley was right, to not single him out as such, because obviously he sings the praises of all these players, and rightly so. But I think Mark's just got getting better and better the more, the older he gets.
Yeah, looking at the stats, Paul, top tacklers, Callum Watkins 22, King V 25, Oliver Partington 34, Chris Atkin 13, Tyler Durpree 29.
Yeah, it's a big effort. A big effort in the heat as well. I mean, I didn't realise how warm it was up there, but pitch side, I believe it was really warm and it was a taxing day. And as I said before, it's a big pitch that St James's Park. So you had to do a lot of work in that game. Okay, has got a big pack as well, a big pack of forwards. So I thought it was a good effort from the players. That.
Yep. Top meter makers, Parky, Joel Burgess 132, Callum Watkins 115, Brodie Croft 118, Oliver Partington 86, and Adam Sidlow 99.
Well, yeah, and I know you'll read them out in a bit, but my man of the match was Ollie Partington. I thought he was brilliant. We missed him a lot when he was injured. He does a lot of that. Again, another one of the players does a lot of that work that people don't always see. I mean, we know he's a good rugby player. We know he's got good hands for a big man and everything else. But he works so hard, and when you watch it back on the coverage on Sky, for me, he seems to be involved in twice as many tackles as that. He was doing 2 or 3 on a bounce. And the other player for me was Callum Watkins again. He's just everywhere all the time. He does lead by example. Like I was saying about Sneedy, doing it obviously with his actions as well, but with his, verbally and getting people organised. Cal Watkins, if you can have 13 Cal Watkins, you won't go far wrong any time. He's just unbelievable. He never seems to be tired. First minute, last minute, he seems fresh and ready to go. And the transition, obviously, as we know, from centre to second row it's just been seamless for him. And that's what you get with world-class athletes and a world-class player. So, yeah, but it doesn't surprise me, them meters. I think, certain players like Brodie and with the space that they were given on a big pitch, like Paul said, made plenty of meters.
Yeah. Average gains, Paul, Callum Watkins 8, Joel Burgess 9, King V 7, Adam Sidlow 8, and Amir Burra 9. We talked last week, didn't we, Paul, about players running over tackles, and I think the golden rule is getting a 10, and that shows how good you have been on the day.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we always say, don't we, about your pack dominating, and you've got to dominate if you're going to beat sides, especially Super League, especially sides in that top 6 with such big packs of forwards. I mean, we'll probably talk after about Castleford. I mean, they've got probably not the best pack in the league, but you're going to get tested again there on Friday night. And I thought we stood up, and we don't get bullied anymore. We don't get bullied in the forwards there, and that stands you in good stead and lays that platform for this other good work to be done. I mean, we all talk about the attacking rugby that we play, but you can't just play that. You've got to earn the right to play that by good work from your forwards and getting you out of yardage, and that's what we do. Players beating the man, and players hitting that contact and carry on going, making that bit more ground, attracting more defenders, and that's when it allows the space for you to run. And I think there was one where Croft went through there. That was because it was such a dominant carry forward. The markers had sort of had a bit of a drift off, left a gap, and he's straight through it, Croft. And that it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Big thanks for your 3-word match reports, man of the matches. Stuart Smart, great win. His man of the match was Mark Sneed, Andy Roberts, Dull, KR, Briley, Tony Amani, Be More Clinical, King, Janice Hotwood, Kendall is useless, Dion Cross, Andy Lancashire, Silky, Sonny Salford, Briley, Parker, you said really competent performance, Partington, Nicholas Fletcher, win despite finishing, Croft, Stephen Doyle, when we clip, Croft, and Stephen Mozart moving on up, Croft. But yeah, I thought when things didn't look like it was going to end well, we dug in, Paul, and a great result and opportunity to build on that.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, some massive games coming up. We keep saying that, don't we? But it's 3 on the bounce now since the St Helens game. I think it's 7 wins in 8. That's top form. That. I think there's only Lee who've got a better record than us at the moment. They won 7 on the bounce, haven't they? So, it's been great. The form's been great. We've got some big games coming up, as I said, Cass, and then the OKI game in the quarterfinals. I think it's Wigan then, isn't it, in the league at home. So that could be a massive crowd. That say we beat Cass and go through in a cup as well. It could be great. So but you can't think past Castleford. That'll be a tough game. They've had a good win, so we've got to be switched on this week. But no, I really enjoyed the Magic Weekend, and I'm hoping it's here to stay because there's talk about it going, and I think it was a real successful weekend. I think everybody enjoyed it. You always seem to get decent weather. We get blessed by that, but I hope it stays because it's a good concept.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the future Magic Weekend, but now you mentioned it, Paul. We'll ask Parky's opinion on it now. For me, it's a money maker for the RFL. It's an event. Fans like to go down to it. Whether it should stay in Newcastle or whether it should move around the country is a debatable thing for me. But we do need these things to grow the sport, I feel.
I'm probably in a minority of one. I don't like it.
No.
I went, but I don't like it. It's not so much the event. If we're going to have a festival rugby league, great. It's the thought that goes hand in hand with the loop fixtures, where you end up playing teams so many times. It makes a mockery of the sport. I try to explain to people, and they're like, well, why? Other sports don't need it. They don't need a gimmick. They don't need a weekend away. They don't, why us? Has it developed the game in any of them areas we've been? I don't think it has. They said, we've got 60 odd thousand. How many would we get on an average weekend? Can't be many less than that, The tickets were cheap. If you're a season ticket holder, you got a day for £12.50. Yeah, it's still not enough there. For me, I don't want to be off. And I know lots of people have lots of fun there. And if that's your thing, getting dressed up and going out on a laugh, fine, brilliant. They say mingling with fans. I mean, some of the abuse I heard from other fans, I don't want to be with them. I don't want to get near them. OKR fans calling us all sorts of stuff on the way out the ground. You're like, it's supposed to be a friendly atmosphere, this. So you get both sides. And I do understand, there have been a few that I have kind of enjoyed. The Etihad one I thought was brilliant, to be honest. But that's probably because it was, on the doorstep. I don't want to do it down. I understand what everyone's saying, and it does give us a bit of coverage, I suppose, and everything else. But it's the fact. I mean, this weekend, Lee got Wakefield. Now at the start of the season, it was obviously put like that because the RFL or Super League thought, them two will be at the bottom. Proved massively wrong with Lee being so good. But Lee got an easy 2 points. Now, if at the end of the season, their 2 points keep them in the top 6, but the 2 points KR dropped against us in another game that didn't need to be played, that doesn't seem fair somehow to me. So I've got gripes. I've got gripes about the whole playing certain teams 3 times and others not, but it just seems a little bit unbalanced. But the date itself, I will say, it was was good. It seemed all right. It seemed like plenty of people had plenty of fun. But for doing it in a day, it was a long way to go there and back on a coach without a toilet. Believe me, that broke down on the way. But that's a different matter. But yeah, I think it'll stay. I think the demand's there from the clubs and certainly from the fans. But I suppose it should move. I like Newcastle, but I think if we're going to do it, and we're trying to spread the game, then we might have to just move it about a bit more.
Yeah. Alternately, Paul, I would prefer like a 7s or a 9s tournament where all the teams are involved. Bring the championship teams in as well, maybe over a couple of days. The problem with that, you'd have to have the teams investing in it because it may be an opportunity for them to rest players, and we want the big players to be involved in this big tournament to bring the sponsors in. So for me, you'd have to have IMG bring a big £1 million purse in to focus everyone's mind. But that'd be something, if we were going to get rid of Magic, something to replace it.
Well, do you know what? I'm a bit of a bore sometimes. I mean, and a traditionalist, and if it was me, yeah, I do like going to different grounds, and that is a trek going up there. I mean, I drove there and all the way back. I was knackered on Saturday night. But what I'd rather see, but this won't happen. People say I'm an old fuddy-duddy. I'd rather get rid of the loop fixtures, get rid of the Magic Weekend, and bring the county cups back. Bring your Lancashire Cup and the Yorkshire Cup back, because there's not enough to win. There's not enough trophies. You've got the Super League and the Challenge Cup. There's nothing else. So you get knocked out of the cup first round and you're like Wakefield and you're at the bottom. At least there's something else to play for. I mean, years ago when I first started coming, you had the Lancashire Cup, you had the John Player or the Regal Trophy, whatever you want to call it. There was stuff to win. There was finals and games on the telly. And you remember going to like Valley Parade watching us play Leeds, and that was a Regal Trophy, wasn't it? There doesn't seem those sort of days out anymore. So I get why supporters like the Magic Weekend, because teams like Wakefield and us and OKR, these sides that don't always get to the big finals, you get to go and play at a big stadium, big shiny football stadium. You get a day out. And if you're Wigan and St Helens, you get to do that more or less every year, because you get to go to the grand final every year. So I do get the sort of hunger to go and have a bit of a carnival, if you like. I get why people enjoy it, but I'd rather see more of the old trophies come back. I think as a sport, rugby league, we chop and change too much and get rid of things and change things around. It's like this IMG thing. We had all this years ago with that licensing and things like that. So we do sort of bring things back. And I'm probably being negative here, but this IMG, how much have we paid this IMG to do this? How much money does it cost for them to tell us what we already know anyway? So it just seems a bit daft. But no, I'd like to see some cup competition or another come round, really, just so there's something more to play for.
Yeah, it just wasn't all about Paul Rowley's men in the 2 points. Parker, our learning disabilities rugby team and physical disabilities rugby team played as well at the Magic Weekend. You know, play very well, show pride in the shirt, and it's great in the community, obviously, being able to play rugby in front of such a big crowd.
Yeah, I watched it at half time. I moved out my seat and got a closer look, best I could, halfway down the stand. It's still like 7 miles away from the pitch, but with my eyes, that wasn't great. But it was really good, and I'll tell you, there's some good play, really good play. It was good to watch. Me and another a fellow Salford fan who's well known with everybody. We were kind of really impressed by what we'd seen. And it, like you say, just a great day for them to get out there and you know, show their skills and get, rightly so, get some of the limelight, you know. And it was good because when they finished playing, all the Salford fans started singing, you know, and got behind them, and they came over and clapped us, and it's just great to see that, to make sure that they know that they're part of us. That, you know, we are just one club, and they're a big part of what we're doing.
Yeah, so that's the look back at Magic Weekend, and now we'll see all the big news coming out of the club this week. So all the big news coming out of the club this week. We'll start with the biggest news, and the Reds Rise Again campaign has finished. A total of £364,000 raised, Parker. A fantastic achievement, a fantastic effort for the fans who have decided to invest.
It's absolutely incredible. In this current economic climate, for people of Salford, a club with minimal support, we get slated for it. You know, we've got no fans. You got no fans. Somehow, have come up with an amount of money which is just it's phenomenal. You can't put into words how brilliant this is. I said last week, and I admitted that previously I thought we wouldn't make it to 250,000. I did. I thought that was a bit pie in the sky for us. I went to that meeting the other week, and that Tuesday night, and we were at the start of the meeting. He said we're at 185,000. I thought, well, that's not bad. It's only about a week to go, but you know, they've done well. It's okay. We get to 200,000. We've done excellent. You know, let's not think that's, you know, a trifle amount. And I listened that night, and I said to you, and I said to everyone listening, you know, if that didn't get you going, listening to those people give those speeches, nothing ever would. And I think it worked. I think it's safe to say it worked.
Yeah.
From 185 to what, 320 odd thousand, whatever. I mean, that is just incredible. Really is. And that now sets the club up in a position where things can start to change off the park. You know, we can do things. We have a bit more freedom in what we do, and hopefully we can employ a couple of people to come in and do the professional work that needs to be done in marketing, in bringing in sponsorship, which then aids us, you know, further down the line, puts more cash into the club. This is the boost we needed. We're not lucky enough to have somebody who's just going to come in and give us, you know, that money or, you know, whatever. I mean, the option's still there for them if they want to, but what the fans have done is it's mind blowing. It really is. And every single fan who's listening now, and if you know anyone who contributed, please just give yourself a massive pat on the back, because you from me personally as a fan, Salford Rugby League's been my life, and the thought of not having it around is crushing. And this generosity that everybody's shown, I know it's your club as well, it's not my club, you know what I mean? I say it like that. I'm just putting across from my point of view that what's been achieved here as a supporter base is truly phenomenal, and will be remembered for many years to come. And hopefully now we can all enjoy and be part of this success together. And I think it's certainly bonded us as a supporter group again. And I just hope now that Paul King and the guys behind the scenes have got what they need to push this club on.
Yeah, you're making me heart flutter here, Parky, with all that. That was deep. Talk about the guys behind the scene. Andy Rosler was talking about the levelling up fund, which the club are trying to tap into, and the 20% we put in and the government put 80% in. We put 200k in, we get $1 million. Now we're near a 400k. We're going to be getting, if it all runs smooth, would be 1.9 million, which is a lot of money. Would definitely secure our medium-term future, I feel. And yeah, a fantastic effort from everybody. The money, like you said, Paul, would allow us to invest in the club and talk about putting meat on the bones. It's like Paul often talks about going to teams like Huddersfield and their backroom staff. There's hundreds of them doing all kinds of jobs, but ours, work so hard, but there's only like a handful really when you think about it. So that would give the opportunity to invest and bring people in to boost the backroom staff and produce more content as well.
Yeah, you need dedicated professionals in certain roles. As much as the people who are at the club now do a phenomenal job, if that's not your job, if that's not what you've been trained to do, if that's not your profession, it's never going to be right. People will find flaws. Professionals who you try and negotiate with will know. They'll know by what you say and what you do. You can bluff it for so long, but this is now a massive step for us, and it's just going to hopefully now this is the future. This has secured the future. You mentioned the money that might be available to be unlocked, even if it's not that much. Even if it's an extra 500,000 on top. I'm just looking on one side of it. If it is an extra 2 million on top, whatever it is, money we haven't got, money we didn't have. Without people's generosity, we wouldn't have at all. And who knows that in 2 months' time we might not be able to make the wage bill. That now appears to be behind us. That seems to be something that even in the short term can give us a fighting chance and put us on an even keel and hopefully, I'm not saying we're up there with the Wiggins, Leeds, Saints, Warringtons whole financially, but the other teams in that league, possibly we are, or we can be. We're in a privileged position where we're based geographically in Salford and Manchester. Such a massive conurbation of business and powerful. I think Manchester is probably the second city realistically of the country these days after London. There's a lot of money flushing about in certain pockets that we can hopefully now, with the right people, tap into, but also tap into the population of Salford and Greater Manchester to get them into the stadium, to bring more money in. Again, it just all helps, and that's what we've lacked for years. We never had it at the Willows. We were lucky that where we were, that the Willows was a massive selling point for us in its location and what it meant to people. It's been hard since we moved. A lot of people have been put off by the stadium and the move. The amount of times I've heard it's not even in Salford, which makes me want to bang my head against the wall. But it's been difficult, and this is it now. This is where we get the chance to put all that right. And it won't happen overnight. This is going to take a long time to turn around because it's been 40 years of nothingness, really. Maybe nearly 50 years when you look at it. So there's a lot of work to do, but I've got nothing but faith in the people that are there now and the people that they will employ to do that job. And with another 1,300, as Paul King said, salespeople now on board. You're all owners. It's the job of everybody to bring people in and to do it because it's your investment, it's your money. You're not going to throw it against the wall. So it's brilliant, and hopefully, like I say, now we're at the start of something. We've got a team. We know what we can do on the pitch. We know we're entertaining, and everything seems to be going well there. we need to make sure that everything's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, the 1,300 owners, Parky, that's the number that excites me the most. The £364,000 will be spent, will be invested, but it's the people who have had the gahulas, we'll say, to put the money in, and also want to invest their time into the club, because without investing time, this won't work. And everybody who's decided to put that £100 in, like Paul King said, and Andy Roslaw, it's about investing into it emotionally, physically, and just sort of living and breathing this club and taking it to the next level. And that's what I look forward to. I think there's enough people there now who willing to go that extra mile and make the magic happen.
Yeah, and it won't be for everybody. You know, some people will have just invested because it's, you know, their love or family connections or whatever, who maybe not have the time or won't have, but most will. And it's a huge sort of marketing team. You know, it's probably one of the biggest in any organisation, because those people who have invested are obviously passionate about the club, you know, and that's where the selling point comes. And you know, you can get out there, you can talk to the next guy in the pub, the person at work, your family member, whatever, and just say, you know, oh, by the way, do you know I'm an owner of a rugby club? What? Yeah, you know, I part own a professional rugby club. Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. And even if that person doesn't engage fully, they know Salford Rugby League Club, then they know you've got a connection. They know they've got a connection. And that's what it's all about now. We've got to get out there. We've got to drag people in by the hair if we have to, and make them notice. But I think the city's noticed. I think the city of Salford's done pretty well. And obviously those like yourself and Paul who don't live in the city, you know, there's plenty of them who've put the money in. You know, you can do your bit in your little areas, and yeah, it's just amazing, really, what can be achieved when people come together.
Yeah, I remember when I started this podcast 7 years ago, Parker, and on Facebook, because obviously I wanted to build this podcast so everybody knew what we were and what we were all about. When I first started the Facebook page, I invited all my Salford friends, which was about 40 people, and I shared the podcast on the podcast page, and then I shared it on my Facebook page, and then I tagged all 40 Salford fans on that picture. So then the people like yourself and their families and friends on their Facebook page saw it. I did that for like 4 weeks, right? And I ended up with about 8,000 people engaging with me, which is I know I beat the algorithm and it was a bit cheeky for 6 weeks to do that, but it is what it is. You have to put the products in front of people so they know it's there. And, you know, I'm hoping opportunity for our owners to do that, to engage, like you said, with families and friends and businesses and put the club in front of them and say, look, this is the product, invest in it.
Yeah, a lot of the time these days, people don't look for things. You know, they want things to fall on the lap and whatever else. And what our job is now is to make people realise that they desperately need something they didn't even know existed. They need this in their lives. They want to be part of something. I saw this at Keighley back in the 90s, and then again at Bradford under Bull, you know, that Bull Mania thing, going from 4,500, 5,000 fans to 20,000 fans against Leeds. You know, I mean, that happened because they were told that if you're not there, you're the one missing out. You're the odd one. Why are you not coming? You know, and people who didn't even like rugby league were all of a sudden massive rugby league fans, and it worked. You know, sadly for Bradford, not sadly for them, it's their own fault, but you know, not fully. But it happens all over, and I think a lot of sports. I think Sale have done it really well. To be fair, you know, for a club, a small sort of provincial rugby union club in an area that's not rugby union, is it? I mean, the northwest of England isn't really a rugby union hotbed. To pull in good crowds when they were at Hayward Road and then at Edgeley Park, and even now, you know, at the Salford Stadium, They've done it. They've made people think that they need to be part of this, whether they do or they don't, just by being in your face, by being out there. We've never had that opportunity. We haven't had the money or the staff to do that. And now we have. We've got a bit of everything. But the main promoter of Salford Rugby League Club is us. It's the fans. It's the people who go and watch. And we're the ones that will get people to come. And we've now got to get in people's faces again. And now we are all together. We all do appear to be as one. This is the chance now to make it happen.
Yeah, it's about, for me, Parky, it's that personal touch. It's not just send it out on Facebook or send it on Twitter as a share, because people can just ignore that. Like I say, when I started this podcast, what I did on Twitter, people followed me. So I followed them, put them on a list, and I had list of people who listened, people who liked the podcast, and people who retweeted the podcast. And I would send each of them a message to say, this is this week's podcast. Thanks for listening. Follow the link. I did that for 6 weeks for the first 250 people that followed me. And then for 6 weeks, I'd click on the link and see if they listened or they retweeted or they like it. And I just knew who listening, who was retweeting. So it gave the opportunity to sort of center that sort of drive for publicity, because I knew who was willing to retweet the podcast or listen to the podcast. And I feel with this group of individuals, these owners, you have that group of 1,300 people who are willing to do that extra bit, which is exciting.
Yeah, very much. The one, I mean, obviously now with the power of social media, you know, there's an easy option there. But like you say, the club and us have got to not bypass social media, but use social media as you can, but actually engage with people, with humans.
Yeah.
Get out there, get in their faces. It's easy to ignore things on Facebook and Twitter or wherever else. You know, you can see it and go, oh yeah, all right, okay, whatever. But to get out there and draw people in, sell it, tell them how good it is, tell them what they're missing. You know, next time you go to the pub or you know you're at work, just chat someone's socks off about it, and then get them involved, and they'll see your social media. They'll know you're a fan anyway, and then it's about what we can do from there as a club now, and about whether this gives us an option of more offers to people, to those who don't go, to people for the first time. And I know and then capturing their information, capturing who they are. And like you've just said there, working out who's doing what. Who, if I send an email out or a promotion, who's used it? Who brought who? How many of them? How can I now engage that person to do it again? If it was, I don't know, I'll give someone a ticket for a tenner, would they come back if it was full price? Or, if next time I say, well, it's 15 quid. Or, how do we do this now? We've got our process, but we can get professionals in to do that job for us.
Yeah. And it gave the podcast an opportunity then to build. And like I said before, it was about engagement. And like now, with everything that's gone on regarding the quality of the podcast, because obviously at that point I had to go learn how to do it properly and create a better podcast and better sound, because obviously at the beginning sound was very wonky, but I managed to get that fixed after a while, and now we're clocking at 5,000 people a month now, which is fantastic. So it's a fantastic thing. It's about building relationships. It's about engaging with people, like you said, Parky. It's not about sharing on social media. It's about private messaging somebody and saying, all right, mate, you okay? Like a former Red who used to go but don't go anymore, or somebody who's into sport, and say, come down to the game, we'll have a day, bring your family, we'll have a day out about it, and make an occasion for everybody. And then hopefully they'll get bitten by the bug, and then we can all go forward together. But it's so exciting. Like you said, 1,300 owners there. That's the important number for me.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think Paul King emphasised that as well, that, we are the club. Now, we own it, but we are the club. It's our job. If you don't do your job, it can still wither and die anyway, if we don't do something about it. So this is just a jumping off point, if you like. But the world's out there for us now. Let's see how far we can go. And if in 2 years' time, you know, we're still only getting, 5,000 fans or whatever. As long as we're still here and surviving, we're doing okay. But who knows? The aim is now we want 7,000 and 8,000 coming in, and we're the ones that have got to do that. We've got to make it happen.
Yeah, for me, it's about pivoting so you face out, not in. And that's the important thing for me. You talk about these extra 2,000 fans. If each of the owners brought 3 people, that's 3,600 people. So when you look at your selection of friends and family, is there 3 people you can tap to put that seed in their head and to get them to come to the game and enjoy that moment? It's just like you say, 3 people. It's difficult. Obviously, we've all been there before, haven't we? Trying to convince people. Now, like you said, Parky, we own it now. It's not us and them. It's all, we're all one, and that's the important thing for me. It's like you say, so exciting. I'm just hoping that, like you say, the people who have invested in the owners roll the sleeves up and get going.
Yeah, one of the big things we've got at the moment is for me is Paul Rowley and his team and the way that they play rugby league. Because if you've watched that game on Saturday with a friend who had never seen the game before or was a passing fan, there's no way they could fail to be impressed by what they watched and how much fun it was. And if we get back to anything like we were, 6 months ago at the back end of last season, and you saw the crowd swell. You saw what happened. That's there. That's still there. So them 5,000 or 4,500, whatever it went to Saints on that game, they all bring another one. Think, that's how easy. We've got the product, and now we've got a chance. And we've just got all work together. And I know the club are going to set up separate committees to do certain things. People out there who are just tomorrow going to work as whatever they do, have a certain set of skills that the next person may not have. And you can offer that to the club. You can get involved. It's your club. You get involved. You offer what you can do. You might be great at speaking to people. You might be great at selling things. You might be great at coming up with ideas, whatever it is. You may, you may do marketing at work. Get involved. Get involved. You're there now. It's your club. Get involved.
And if they do say no, then you can say, well, why? And then there might be something the club doesn't realise, or something they might be able to change to entice people who think, I'm not going because of A, B, and C. And they might be able to change A, B, and C, then attracts them back in, doesn't it? So it is exciting.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it plays out. So that's the big news, celebrating the old Red Raz again fund. Other news, club have said that Tyler Dupree is not for sale. Parker, Paul Rowley talked to Paul Whiteside about wanting to build a team and not dismantle it, which is true, because obviously he's put a lot of work in getting this group of players together on limited budget, so he doesn't want the key parts of that being taken away.
Yeah, I saw that over the weekend and read it again today. And my first initial point was, when was he ever for sale? Yeah. We've never put him up for sale. We didn't say we wanted to get rid of him. He's not for sale. Of course he's not. He never was. Now, if you come in with a massive bid, that's different. But he's not for sale because he's ours. We want him. His last couple of performances again on Saturday, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He's a hot day and a lot of work to do, and he was brilliant again. No, I think Paul Rowley's absolutely spot on. You don't bring players in just to sell them. Like, them days have gone for us. We don't want that anymore. We need to keep our best players. Tyler Dupree at 23 years old, he's one of the most exciting sort of prop talents I've seen in a long time out there. And if someone comes in with a ridiculous bid, you still got to be stupid to turn it down, because people don't offer money anymore. If someone comes in and says, here's 250 grand, right, okay, thanks, we'll take that. We'll invest in 2 or 3 more players to build our team. That player can go. And if that player wants to leave, go. If you don't want to play for us, you don't play for us. Whatever the story is, as it stands at the moment, from what I've seen, Tyler Dupree's playing rugby league with a big smile on his face, doing his absolute mustard for us. Paul Rowley loves him. The team seems to have no issue with him, and nobody's put a firm offer that I've seen on the table of an amount of money that would make you think, yeah, okay, we'll let you go. So, no, Tyler Dupree's not for sale.
Yeah, and the facts are, like I said, Tyler Dupree's under contract. He's playing well. He's got a smile on his face. Paul Rowley's got a smile on his face. We've got a smile on our faces. So it's all good. Obviously, like you said, massive bid comes in. Even if it did come in, though, it's, for me, do we really want to disrupt this momentum? Or do we wait until the season's ended and we have another chat about it then? Because even, say someone does come in with some silly money, we've still only got a limited amount of pool of players to replace him with. And are them, pool of players going to be good enough mid-season?
I think it would be crazy to sell him now at this time of the season. If you said to a club, look, you can come in with a bid, throw your money on the table, okay, right, end of the season, he's yours. That gives us time to look, recruit. I mean, we know how good Ian Bleeds has been with recruitment. I would have no fear that we would find the right man, whoever it is, or right men for that. We could have a look at Australia because we've still got quarter spots available. There might be a top player coming out of contract there. There might be a lad in the championship where we think, well, if we can get a pre-season into him, he's going to be the next thing. No point. I mean, we did it last year with Alec Gerrard and Tyler. We brought him in halfway through the season, but it's not easy to do. You've got to get that fitness up. You've got to get to know your teammates, and the position we're in at the moment, we don't want to jeopardise that. So, no, I want to see Tyler here for at least another 3 years. But if he's going to go and the money's right, then the end of the season for me is the only time he can go. But until someone comes in with a serious offer, I don't think we should even entertain the idea, and we just carry on as we are.
Yeah, and how good has Paul Rowley been as well in this situation, with the pressure of what was going on, cool as a cucumber, not getting drawn into any sort of silly questions, just playing it straight, calming everything down. Let's focus on the game and what's going on. When could have easily lost his head, could have easily started shouting at people, but likes to play it cool, and that's helped in this situation.
Well, I can imagine, because Paul Rowley as a player was a bit of a firecracker. I can imagine behind the scenes, Paul Rowley has stormed into Ian Bleasy's office and Paul King's office and told them exactly what he thinks. If they've any thoughts of selling Tyler Dupree, he would not be a happy chap. And I don't think I'd like to face him. He might not be the biggest man in the world, but he can be furious. And I think he'd fight his players' corner and his team's corner and say, "You want me to do something here? I want this guy with me." And like you say, that I can imagine certain other managers who right now would be spitting the toys out of the pram. They would be whinging about a slopey pitch or something, about the fact that their players are being picked or this is happening to them. Paul Rowley's just dismissed the whole idea, puts it straight to bed when someone asks him what's happening to Tyler Dupree. He's our player, plays for me, he's under contract. That's the story. Print that. I'm not interested in what anyone else says or any rumour or anything like that. He's not distracted, and he knows because he's got a team to look after. It's not about one man. Nobody's more important than that team. And Paul Rowley, for me, is the most important man in that squad in any way, in any shape or form. So, yeah, I can imagine Paul behind the scenes would have had a quiet word with Ian Blease and Paul King and said, yes, I'm sure if someone comes in throwing, pound notes at you, you may be tempted, but I'm just going to tell you, don't be. Let's leave it there. And so, we're very lucky to have roles. And Bleasy and Paul King as well, obviously, for what they do and how they work as a team.
Yeah. So far, so good. Everyone's smiling. Let's keep the smiles, lads. That's what it's all about. Next bit of news: wheelchair rugby training on Sunday. Eccles College. Don't forget, every second Sunday, Parker. They've got a nice little squad there. I think it's 10. So they'll be ready for the next game. I think they played one game, didn't they, in Preston? So I'm sure they'll be waiting for the next opportunity to come along.
Yeah, I was outside the ground last week for the whole game. Talking to me, my brother, and yourself. You came past, and Mr. Whiteside as well. And we all, we had a bit of a chat. And Heather Robinson tried to coax me into a chair to have a go. Not happening. Not happening. There was people outside doing it, and no, thank you. No, it's brilliant. It's just great to watch, isn't it? And at some point, I will do it. I will have a go. I can't make any promises that would be any use, but I think I'll be too busy trying to watch my fingers and look after myself, self-preservation. But it is fascinating. It's dead fast. It's great fun. I'm sure even training's fun, but I'm going to have to sort of edge my way up to that. I'll probably start with a bit of walking rugby first before I get back into all that. But yeah, no, it'd be good to go down and have a look, and hopefully more people can join in and get a big squad together.
Yeah, like I said before, Parky, that squeaking isn't the gate swinging in the wind. It's Heather rolling that wheelchair up your front path, ready to put you in it. Other bits of news: the club's Lions development program started this week. Under 50 kids in the area, training techniques. Fantastic. Obviously, the foundation do a great job. They've put adverts all over social media trying to get people to join all our local amateur clubs, and it's fantastic that the club have sort of done this and invested in the community.
Yeah, I believe my nephew's gone down tonight.
Oh yeah,
he's gone. My brother's messaged me. He was going down. Or was it last night? Tonight? Last night? I don't know what date it is. Because he definitely combined it with picking up tickets for Friday night, which was useful. Yeah, no, brilliant. We need to get this again. This is all part of the thing, but we need to get the kids. Kids are the future. It's very easy to be a football fan, especially right now, the big weekend we've just had. And, for me, rugby struggles with kids because it's a little bit more technical than football at that age. I mean, you buy a kid a football straight away, they can kick it. It's not as easy to run and pass and play rugby. So to get them involved, to get them engaging, as early as possible. And this is now, I know these are a little bit older, these guys, but some of them may not have played rugby before. They may have always played football. But there are millions of footballers out there and millions who don't get anywhere. For me, you've got a massive, better chance of becoming a rugby league player than you have any footballer at any point. So I think it's a way to push your kids if you can, and one thing I've always said, and it takes me back to when I played, and I think you'll ask anyone who's played the game at any level, certainly through amateur rugby, it creates a bond that you never, ever break. You never forget your teammates at that level. It's brilliant for creating friendships for the future. You meet some of the most amazing people you'll ever will. Some absolute crackpots. Let's not, play games. So some of the people I've met through rugby league have been psychotic, I think. But no, it creates a bond whether you make it or not. That's kind of irrelevant. It's about sticking together as a team. You create a bond, and then you go off. You have a drink, or whatever age you're at. You go. You've got a mate for life, and you'll create sort of memories you'll never forget.
Yeah, I remember 20 years ago playing for Langwith Red's third team. I was terrible. I'm not gonna pull any punches. I was awful. And I remember Neil Blackburn. He was playing for Langwith first team at the time, and I think he was watching. And he texted me in the evening and said, well done today. You tried your hardest. That's all that matters. And I always remember that. I think we got beat like 66-6 or something like that. And I was all at sea mostly, but I always remember that he went out of his way to say, you know what, you did well there. And it's things like that, like you said, that you remember, don't you, in your playing days?
Yeah, I could probably bump into someone I played with 30 years ago as a kid, and you still remember. You can still have a joke about a game or something that happened in a game or whatever, a place we went and played that was a hellhole or something like that. It's there, and I see it now with lads when you go to an away game and they all stick together and they're all good mates, they're all good drinking buddies, and some of them obviously still play together. It's it does And I think what the club are doing here, getting these lads together, is showing them what's out there. You know, one day you could be getting this sort of training every day. This could be your home. You know, and we're just getting kids involved and getting them engaged, and that's all we can do. And as a community, we've got to do everything we can to help the kids out and help the parents out during the holidays as well. But get them fit, keep them off a PlayStation for half an hour at least. That's a start. Give them an interest, and if they don't want to play, they might want to watch. And there you go. You know, that's half the battle, just getting them there. So yeah, no, as ever, we're always full of praise, and the guys in our foundation and everything are just second to none as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, talking about the foundation, Parker, if you shop on Amazon, if you follow the link that's on the Salford Devils Foundation Twitter page, the foundation gets some money off Amazon if you buy something on Amazon. So when you're scrolling through Facebook and it's Amazon product 640 and it's some random plug or some random thing that might think, well, that might make my life better. Go through the link, foundation gets some funds, and it's a win-win for everyone. Yeah,
the affiliate membership. I think we used to have that on. Was it RL Fans back in the day? I think we did something similar there. It's great if someone's going to make money while you're spending it anyway, rather than just giving it, away. It's like, why wouldn't you help out who you can? You're going to buy the item anyway. It's no loss to you in any way. So just try and guide your friends and your family through it as well, and get some money in for the foundation, because as I've just said, they do an amazing job on very little. So all the help they can get.
Yeah. Final bit of news: Armed Forces Appreciation Day. Wigan at home. Club have announced the people who are going to start doing the entertainment that day. Alex Spencer, Chaddy, and the Backhanders, and DJ Dave Moore, and the Red Devils parachute team will be there. Inflatables. We talked about the owners and their responsibility in this, making the Reds Rise Together campaign a success. Opportunity to practice on your friends and family and get them to the game.
Yeah, the Armed Forces Day. I'm a big fan of our armed forces and everything they do for us and others around the world. And today as well being D-Day, or would have been, back a couple of years back before we were knocking around, and thankfully we are knocking around because of the people that were committed. It's brilliant to see the club are rewarding people who have who've some have put the lives on the line for others. It'd be a great day. That hopefully the sun will be shining. We'll still be winning. I'll be up there. There'll be a big crowd. Hopefully, we can do something for the armed forces. And I know that's something that Paul King's quite keen on. They're not just engage, obviously, with the armed forces, but other parts of our community that maybe are neglected or not seen at rugby league, don't feel part of it, don't feel like it's something for them. That's not how we want it. Rugby league is, as we've proven with the ladies team, the physical and learning disabilities, the wheelchairs, it's for everybody. Rugby league is for everyone. There's a part for all, and I think Paul King is keen and engaging with all parts of the community. And again, that's something we can do. We can promote that. We can tell people, you are part of this. You're part of Salford. This is your club, and don't think that anybody. We want everybody there. We're all inclusive. And and the armed forces is obviously one of them that sometimes get forgotten about. So great work.
Yeah, opportunity club, opportunity for everybody, and that's what Salford Devils is all about. So that's all the news, and we'll see what now is happening in the World Rugby League with Whiteside's World of Rugby League. So that was Whiteside's World Rugby League, and now we'll look forward to the games this weekend for our teams. So we'll start with the reserves, Parker. They are away at Castleford on Saturday. Menderholz Jungle, 3:00 kickoff. Obviously looking to bounce back after last week's defeat.
Yeah, it's tough for them, isn't it? It's always going to be like that until we have a squad that you can include, more senior players in there to help these young lads out. And going to Cass, we know how tough it is for the first team. It's going to be really difficult for our boys to go there. But again, I think the thing is, it's just turning up every game fresh and thinking it's a new week, it's a new game. Don't forget what happened last time, and don't take reputations into account or anything like that. Just go and do what you do. And as an individual, at that level as well, you've got to be thinking. Obviously, it is a team game. You want to be part of that, but where's my career? I've got to do the best I can to catch somebody's eye, because I want my shot in that first team. I want to put pressure on Ken Seo. I want to be playing instead of Mark Sneed, who some of them players in the first team might be in the 30s now. Somebody's got to take the place. Well, rather than the club having to go out and find so many hundreds of thousands to go and grab somebody, that player might already be there, and it's their job in that reserve to push the first team. And they're all learning. They're all, they'll all be getting better. In another year's time, you just don't know. But there's definitely some talent in there. It's just, it's difficult because of the makeup of the team and the inexperience of some of the lads. But no, I mean, you can only just wish them the best and just keep learning and doing your best for the team and yourself.
Yeah, the ladies are in action against Bradford on Sunday. They are away. It's a 5:15 kickoff. Bradford are 5th in the league. We are 4th. They've lost one, drew one. They lost heavy to Barrow, but drew with Lee. Obviously, we suffered defeat our first league game. We won, didn't we? Beat Castleford, which is positive. Obviously, had a few absentees. Hopefully, Chris Bates will have bodies back for this week.
Yeah, hopefully about a week's rest at least. I mean, Bradford, getting a result off Lee is good, because that Lee team, seemed quite good. But yeah, no, again, same with the ladies. Really, we're all still, they're still learning. Still, each week is a different challenge, and going away to Bradford, which is, as we all know, is a bit of a hotbed, will be a tough test. But we proved that, like you say, that first game at Cass, how good we are when we've got a full team out. So fingers crossed, we've got bodies back. I know a couple of players, like we mentioned last week, have come back into the squad or have joined the squad. So yeah, fingers crossed this can be the another start. We've got the cup games sort of out of the way a little bit, and let's start trying to climb the league table. The main thing is this season for our girls is to keep learning and try and just stay off the bottom of that league. That's the first win for us. It's the first win for any team that gets promoted. Staying there, that's the tough part. So yeah, still enthusiastic, still really happy with the way the girls are going, and if we can keep a full squad out there, we'll be okay.
Devils travel to Castleford Tigers on Friday night in the Super League. Paul, big game for both teams.
Yeah, it is. They'll be buoyed by the result. They got the Magic Week and they beat Leeds, didn't they? And I think that's the first game they've won under the new coach, that Andy Lass. So they've been poor this season, haven't they? They've been really poor. Them and Wakefield, they've been like the rubbing rags, haven't they? But they're always tough to beat at home, aren't they? At Weldon Road, it's an hard place to go. We've got to be switched on. I think if you're Paul Rowley and you're Salford, you just go there and do the job, don't you? You just go there and pretend you're playing, I don't know, Brisbane Broncos, because you can't approach any game and take it for granted. 2 points is 2 points, and it's a massive 2 points for us. We joined second in the league, aren't we? 2 points off the top of Super League. So, we could go sort of top on Friday night, depending on other scores than that. So, with other teams playing over the weekend. So, it's a massive, massive game for both teams. But, I'm hoping we can go there and get the result.
Yeah. Parky, Castleford fans growing frustrated after things going off the field that they're not quite happy about. It's not a happy camp there. Obviously, we can take advantage.
Yeah, like Paul said, it's always a tough place and a bit of a graveyard for us, isn't it? But they have been poor this year. I think they won 3 now, and 2 of them have been against Leeds, which is odd in itself. They do have a good record against Leeds, and the other one was against Wakey, which, no disrespect to Wakey, but that's what everybody does at the moment. We've got to go there full of confidence. Like we said before, 7 out of 8 wins. The one we lost was at the World Champions, and we had them on the ropes for 40 minutes. So we're a good team. We're a really good team, and if we come out of that game at the weekend, unscathed, no, I don't think Dion's getting a ban or anything. I think he's okay. Plus, I mean, his disciplinary record been brilliant anyway. So, so as long as we've got no more injuries, we should go there in fine fettle. And I think we shouldn't be fearing anyone anywhere. But you look at the two teams on paper and the form. We've got to go there confident. I hate feeling like this because it's usually when you trip up or something, you end up with egg on your face, don't you? But I just think at the moment, if we play as well as we did for the last few weeks, then we should have a fairly decent evening over in West Yorkshire.
Yeah, pressure was building on coach Andy Last, but a win against Leeds last week may diffuse that a little bit, Paul. But they have got some players to look at. McShane, ex-Salford players, Evans, Griffin and Turner also need to be watched.
I don't know if Evans is injured because I don't think he played at weekend, did he? So I don't think Niall will be playing. But Paul McShane, he's always a difficult player to watch. I mean, he's knocking on a bit now, but he's a good organiser. His shot kicking game's good. Jacob Miller, he's no mug either. He's played around at Wakefield and Hull. You've got Broadbent as well, the young halfback, who's an impressive player. And you've got some tough guys in the pack as well. Look at Liam Watts and George Griffin always plays well. So. They're no mugs, Castleford. There's no doubt about that. They've got one or two aging players in that squad, but I think if you was a Cas supporter or a Cas player, or Andy Last, you'd be worrying about Salford really because we can score points. So are they going to be able to keep us out? So I'd be confident we can go there and score points against them. Can they score points against us? So I think we've just got to go there and play our normal game. We'll get chances there. There's no doubt about that. It's a short pitch as well, Castleford. So. You don't have to do as much running on that one. So the last couple of times we've been there, we scored 50 points last season and 70 points the season before, wasn't it? So we've had some good wins there recently. So I'm confident with the right. It's attitude to me, Rob. You've got to go there with the right attitude. If you do that, you'll get the result.
Like Paul just said, Parky, we've scored big points in the last couple of times on that pitch, even though it is quite small and quite tight, right on top of you there at the Jungle.
Yeah, I think Cass have got a few problems as well. I know Evans is out. I think he's out for the year. I think Jordan Turner might have got injured at the weekend. Liam Watts is copping another ban. I think they said 9th in so many months. It's ridiculous, really. He's a liability to Castleford, and they'd be better off probably without him. He's got talent, but just stupid. But other than that, they have still got decent players in there if they're fit, and they do have threats. But I think we'd be fairly happy with that. And like you say, our recent history there has been good. Things like that live in the memory, don't they? Last year we went there first game of the season on that Friday night, 10,000 people packed in there, and it was a cracking atmosphere. But we were magnificent that night and took the points. And then in the last game before the playoffs, it was a big game. That was a lot on that. We could have missed out. And we didn't. We went there and absolutely destroyed them in a performance that was as good as any I'd seen in a long time. So those thoughts are in there. The team hasn't changed that much for us. A couple of new faces, but I think probably added to what we already had. So yeah, I'm confident we can go there. Casa, obviously, the win last week would have boosted them, but they've got a long way to go. I think. Like Paul said, it's all on us. It's all on attitude, and I don't think Paul Rowley will let us go there with the wrong attitude. I don't think he's that kind of man. We say it every week. He never gets 2 up. He never gets 2 down. But it's all business. He'll have going through the video this week, getting the players prepared, and just forget everything that's gone. This is the week we target now. Let's go out there and put a score up.
Yeah. IMG last week, Paul talked about the state of Castleford's ground, talked about the business. I do think their buffet they put on for the press before the game is well worth going down for, don't you think, Paul?
Yeah, they had like prawns on one year, didn't they? And all sorts of stuff on there, calamari, and you name it. Do you know what? I put something in the preview about this when I was writing it up. I saw some negative stories about Wakefield and Castleford, and I think in this day and age now, people tend to moan about everything, don't they? And for me, I enjoy going to grounds. I used to enjoy going to Keighley and grounds like that. Where no matter where it is, I just love the rugby on the pitch. But people these days, they want everything. They want a chauffeur-driven car, don't they? And bloody prawn sandwiches before the game and all that. But don't have a go at Castleford. I think they've been in Super League for a while. They've been up and down. They're a good club, a traditional club. They work hard. They produce a lot of players as well. And good luck to them. But I think since Darryl Powell went, they've really sort of hit a bit of a buffer, really, haven't they? And struggled. They've not produced the form, the last couple of years. So they're going to find it tough. But I hope it doesn't come down to that. I hope at the end of the day, if they get relegated, it's because they're bobbins and they finish below Wakefield. But we'll have to see what happens towards the end of the season. But I think for me, we've just got to go there and do the job at the weekend, no mercy, and get the job done.
Yeah, let's talk predictions. Parker, last week, you and Paul were in touching distance of Hernando's. Paul went 28-16. You went 24-16. How'd you feel?
Hungry.
Yeah, devastated. Really. I was. I thought we were on. I thought one of us had got it. Yeah, we were close. We're getting closer. Anyone would think we might watch the game. No, it was. I just want. Can I just say on the cast thing, by the way, about the ground and so on. There's two trains of thought here. I'm with Paul. I'm an old-fashioned kind of. I go for the rugby. It doesn't matter about the glitz and glamour. But there are certain things criteria that will need to be made in for modern sport. It's it's not our problem in that way. But you go there at night and the lighting around the ground's not good enough. That's an issue for me with my eyes. It's the fact of getting in and out safely is a bit of an issue. But they have had chances. We were made to leave our home ground, our bait, our everything really to stay in this league, and it's not been the same for everybody, and that's disappointing. But the flip side that was a point that was made this week to me by one of my brothers was Wakefield get relegated, or if Cass go, or if they both went, or whatever, who replaces them? Who's got the stadium and the facilities and everything else to compete at a Super League level at the moment? That's the problem we're creating here. I agree. It should all be done on whether you finish bottom or not, and that's it. If Fev do finish top, which you would expect, they look like they're flying in the Championship. Well, they've done a lot of work there at Post Office Road, but is it Super League worthy? If the others aren't, I don't know. I don't get it. So what do you do then? Do you go back to Toulouse, who currently are about third in the league? Do you look at London again, or I don't know. I know it's a different debate for a different day, but we can criticise the grounds, but who's going to replace them? And like you say, you mentioned Cass there, a proper rugby league town who's produced God knows how many players over the years. If Cass go down the toilet, Waker, rugby league's in a bad place at the moment, and that could be another death nail. But anyway, back to predictions. This week's my week. I've made my mind up, so I'm going Castleford 8, Salford 34.
Okay. 8-34 from Parker. Are you having flashbacks from the Inu from last time you got close, Parker? Paul, sorry.
Yeah, he let me down, didn't he, kicking that bloody penalty goal? No, well, Parker's just gone with one there, and my prediction's pretty close to that, actually. So I'm going to go Castleford 12, Salford 31.
12-31. Okay. I'm going to go Salford to win. I'm going to go Castleford 10, Salford 30.
They're all round about them, aren't they?
Yeah, so we can all have a sweat. Like this week, I can join in the sweatiness as well.
It'll be 12-30 to Salford, won't it? Or something like that. We'll all be worn out again.
Yeah. So that's the end of this week's podcast. Been a great show, Parker, talking all about the Magic Weekend and all the big news regarding the Red Rise again. And it's been great discussing it and talking all things Salford.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, another good week to be a Salford fan. We've not had many in my 46 years, but currently I'm just loving it. I'm loving the the positivity around the club, the way the fans have all come together. You know, the bond that seems to be there again. It's kind of reminiscent of 2003 for me, and long may it continue.
Yeah, and we also, Paul, like to thank our listeners for donating via the Ko-fi, allowing us to produce this podcast, producing equipment, producing programs to make this podcast the best it can be.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate that, don't we? As we mentioned, and it's great to see and great to interact with everybody who listens in, and yeah, it's been brilliant, and it's great to see all those happy faces at the game as well. It was brilliant on Saturday to see everybody's in such a good mood. I hope we get to see that again this week, and don't forget this time next week when we're recording the podcast, we've got a quarter final to look forward to. How exciting is that going to be? So yeah, great show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so very exciting times to be a Soul fan. Big thanks for tuning in to this week's Devil the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil the Detail SRD. Find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. Good luck, Reds. See you soon.